Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show here on Newsmax TV. If you've been tempted to believe that woke-ism or the cancerous cancel culture is just some cultural fad that will dissipate over time, returning America to normal at some point, think again. Tonight, we will detail several stories that illustrate just how invasive, far-reaching, and dangerous the dark agenda of the anti-American left has progressed. We'll also inform you how this ideology threatens the safety and security of your family, your community, and your country. Woke-ism, not a fad, but a threat. A wake-up call we hope will prompt you to take some action in tonight's preamble. The woke cancel culture goes far beyond the bias of the left-wing media and the tech companies like CNN, Twitter, MSNBS, Facebook, and Google. It is infiltrating every aspect of American life. The goal is obvious and frightening. Criminalize anyone who opposes left-wing lunatics. Take, for example, these three stories. American Medical Association embraces critical race theory, rejects meritocracy. Journalist GQ Pan reports how the American Medical Association, the largest national organization representing physicians in the United States, says it will set aside its long-held concept of meritocracy in favor of something called racial justice and health equity. The AMA lays out their woke plan in an 86-page offering that details a 3-year roadmap. And with this new direction, the AMA will reject Dr. King's teaching of a colorblind society, instead focusing on racial justice and health equity. Now, this sounds familiar to you. It should. A hospital in Massachusetts foreshadowed the AMA's move by announcing it would give preferential treatment in health care based on one's skin color. Even though this discrimination is illegal, the AMA and others are pushing forward, excusing racism against whites by calling it social justice. The AMA also makes it clear that it now rejects the concepts of equality and meritocracy, which have been goals in the fields of medical science and medical care. Imagine the impact the AMA's plan will have on Americans' health if skin color determines one's level of care. How can any American family have confidence in any doctor who belongs to the AMA, knowing that this is the MO? The next story comes courtesy of Mary Lou Lang of Just the News. The headline is jarring. DHS offers $500,000 for public-private data sweep targeting violent extremists in law enforcement? At this point, I want to remind all of you of the Salcedo Show axiom that states, Democrat socialists turn our government against us. President Obama did this with stunning brazenness. Biden doesn't appear much to care about the optics either. Depending on the biased press to actually cover up this story, that's what he's hoping for. The premise for the $500,000 grant, Insider Threats in American Law Enforcement, contends that America is facing new threats in an ever-changing landscape. The premise is complete BS. The only thing that has changed is the level of infiltration into our government by leftists. These leftists want to criminalize anybody who opposes their dark agenda. So they label those who value patriotism, dedication to the Constitution, and enforcing the rule of law as violent extremists. The agenda is clear: to cow law enforcement so they won't dream of getting in the way of the left-wing militants like BLM and Antifa, thugs who have been rampaging through our streets for over a year now. Now, we've seen examples of how woke-ism is impacting law enforcement. 2 Fridays ago, we told you the story about a police chief in Plano, Texas, allowing BLM members to block traffic in that town. Chief Ed Drain did not charge any of them with a crime, even though they broke the law. In California over the weekend, Antifa and pro-terrorist elements blocked the roadways. Emboldened by socialist Democrats, these thugs felt perfectly at ease with disobeying lawful orders from police. Watch.
Get out of the way. I'm going to take off. Get out of the way. 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 Stop. Stop. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Now, using HHS funds, could the officer behind the wheel be deemed a violent extremist for not allowing thugs to block the road, or for not allowing the thugs to impede his progress? It's clear to me that HHS wants to send a message to America's law enforcement. If any officer uses justifiable force against a criminal agent of the woke agenda, that officer will be branded a violent extremist, losing their career and ability to feed their families. This in turn makes the police afraid to do their jobs, leaving the people to the mercy of terrorists like Antifa and BLM. The latest and most troubling infection point of wokeism is the United States military. Several outlets, including our pals at PJ Media, are reporting an outrage. A commanding officer in the United States Space Force has been relieved of duty for criticizing Marxism infiltrating our armed forces. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer has been relieved of his duties pending an investigation. Lohmeyer served for 14 years in the United States Air Force before joining Space Force. He's written a self-published book called Irresistible Revolution, Marxism's Goal of Conquest and the Unmaking of the American Military. He appeared on a podcast to discuss this book on May 7th. He was relieved of his duties as commander of the 11th Space Warning Squadron at Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado on Friday, May 14th, by order of Lieutenant General Stephen Whiting. The Military Times reported this about the general's decision. Quote, "This decision was based on public comments made by Lieutenant Colonel Lohmeyer in a recent podcast. Lieutenant General Whiting has initiated a command-directed investigation on whether these comments constituted prohibited partisan political activity," end quote. Now, to my knowledge, Colonel Lohmeyer's book and interview deals with the dangers of Marxism and its infiltration into the United States military. Now, I've not read the book yet, but I was unaware that condemning Marxism officially reflected criticism of one of the political parties here in the United States. General Whiting appears to be thinking that, well, criticizing Marxism indicts one of our two political parties. That might be news to that party that has been trying to keep that little nugget under wraps for the majority of their voters for quite some time. Colonel Lohmeyer, by all accounts, is a whistleblower. Sadly, he appears to be suffering the same fate as most whistleblowers today if the whistle is being blown on left-wing extremists who are compromising the safety of our families, communities, and country. From the AMA to our local cops to the U.S. military, will anyone in Congress step forward to protect those who are trying to inform Americans of the impending danger posed by the cancer that is left-wing extremism? Maybe it's time Congress heard from all of you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.